Your focus sculpts your reality, a framework for intentional living. Introduction, the fundamental law. You are the architect of your existence, and your attention is the chisel. Every day you are bombarded by a universe of information, opportunities, and chaos. Yet out of this endless noise, a singular, highly personal, and utterly unique reality emerges. How does this happen? The answer is simple, yet revolutionary. Your reality is not what happens to you, it is what you choose to focus on. This is the fundamental law of intentional living. Attention is not merely a mental function, it is the most valuable currency you possess, the engine of your mind, and the precursor to every creation you will ever manifest. Think of your mind as a sophisticated, high-powered spotlight. Whatever that light illuminates, a goal, a fear, a resentment, or a dream, will expand, gain clarity, and eventually become the dominating feature of your personal landscape. What remains in the shadows, however real, will fade from your experience. For decades, modern science, from neuroscience to quantum physics, has been converging on the same truth that ancient philosophers understood. The act of observation, of focused attention, changes the observer and the observed. This book is the blueprint for harnessing that power. We are not just talking about productivity or minimizing distractions. We are talking about the deliberate, surgical selection of what holds weight in your life. Do you focus on lack or abundance? On past failures or future possibilities? On conflict or connection? The answer to these questions doesn't just determine your mood, it literally programs your brain, directs your actions, and, stone by stone, constructs the world you inhabit. The journey we are about to undertake is a framework for transforming passive existence into intentional design. You will learn 1. The mechanics, how your brain's internal filtering system works and how to reprogram it to see the opportunities you desire. 2. The sculpting, practical, actionable methods for applying focused attention to the core pillars of a meaningful life: health, wealth, relationships, and purpose. 3. The mastery, strategies for conquering the modern world's greatest enemy: digital distraction, and sustaining deep, creative focus over a lifetime. If you are ready to stop waiting for a better reality and start forging one, turn the page. The currency of your attention is about to be invested. Chapter 1. The Neuroscience of Intentionality. The first thing you need to accept is that the concept of Focus Sculpts Reality is not merely motivational poetry, it is a law of biology. Your brain is a magnificent, efficient machine, but it is built to filter out the vast majority of the world's information. Without this filtering mechanism, you would be paralyzed by sensory overload, unable to distinguish the roar of traffic from the words on this page. The part of your brain responsible for this incredible feat of data management is the reticular activating system, RAS. The brain's filter, understanding the RAS. The RAS is a bundle of nerves about the size of your pinky finger located at the base of your brainstem. It acts as the ultimate gatekeeper between the overwhelming sensory input of the world and your conscious analytical mind. Its primary job is simple. It searches for things that confirm your beliefs, are important to you, or have been recently highlighted by your attention. Have you ever decided to buy a specific model of car and suddenly that car model seems to be everywhere on the road? The car wasn't suddenly mass-produced overnight. Your RAS was simply given a new instruction. Pay attention to this. It shifted from background noise to foreground priority. When you focus intently on a goal, For example, a new business opportunity, finding a dedicated partner, or improving your physical health, you're essentially issuing a command to your RAS. The RAS then begins actively filtering the world to bring relevant information, people, and resources into your conscious awareness. If you focus on lack, your RAS highlights evidence of scarcity, bad luck, and reasons why you can't succeed. Your reality becomes one of struggle. If you focus on possibility, your RAS highlights connections, solutions, and evidence of success in others. Your reality becomes one of opportunity. The RAS doesn't judge, it simply executes the program you feed it through consistent focus. It transforms arbitrary sensory input into the narrative you live by. To sculpt a new reality, you must deliberately instruct your RAS. What fires together, wires together. Neural pathways. The physical process behind the RAS's selection is tied directly to the concept of neural plasticity. The famous saying in neuroscience, coined by psychologist Donald Hebb, is, "Neurons that fire together, wire together." Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every action you take creates a connection or a pathway between neurons in your brain. When you repeatedly focus on a negative thought, for example, "I'm not good enough," the neural pathway for that thought becomes thick, fast, and automatic, like a superhighway. When a new situation arises, your brain automatically defaults to this established, high-speed road. When you choose to consistently focus on a new positive thought, for example, "I am capable of learning this," you're forcing your brain to carve out a new path, a slow, difficult dirt road at first. The power of intentional focus is that it acts like a construction crew, rapidly paving the new road and letting the old negative superhighway fall into disrepair. The more attention you place on the desired thought, goal, or outcome, the faster and stronger the new neural architecture of your preferred reality becomes. This is why consistency is non-negotiable. A single thought is a footprint in the mud. Repeated, focused thoughts are concrete foundations. You are literally remodeling the physical structure of your mind based on what you choose to dwell upon. The spotlight effect, how selective attention colors experience. Focus also dictates the emotional quality of your experience in the present moment. This is known as selective attention. Imagine you are at a crowded party. There is music, dozens of conversations, the clinking of glasses. Yet, if someone across the room says your name, you instantly hear it above all the noise. This is the RAS at work. The emotional equivalent is the spotlight effect. Two people can experience the exact same event, a rainy Monday morning, a busy workplace, a difficult conversation, but their realities will be fundamentally different based on where they direct their mental spotlight. Person A focuses on the traffic jam, the demanding email, the coffee spill. Person B focuses on the smell of rain, the opportunity to structure the week, the feeling of warmth from their coffee mug. Person A lives in a stressful, irritating reality. Person B lives in a calm, structured reality. The objective facts, the rain, the email, are identical. The difference is the selection, the focus, which colors their emotional state and, critically, their subsequent actions. The sculpted reality is internal, but its impact is entirely external. Practice RAS priming, programming your mind's filter. To end the default programming of your RAS and begin the work of intentional sculpting, implement this daily practice. 1. Morning Focus Journal, 5 minutes. Immediately upon waking, before checking any device, write down 3 highly specific positive outcomes you intend to see today. Crucially, write them as if they are already happening. For example, instead of "I hope I find a new client," write, "I am energized by the productive call I had today that landed a high-value client." 2. Visual anchor. Select an object you interact with constantly, a wristwatch, a doorknob, or your computer mouse. Designate this as your focus anchor. 3. The interruption reset. Every time you touch your focus anchor, repeat your 3 outcomes silently. This interrupts the default mind wandering and actively reinforces the programming you gave your RAS. By consistently directing your brain's filter toward evidence of success, opportunity, and well-being, you prime it to see those very things in the world. You are literally training your brain to believe in and seek out your intentional reality. Chapter 2. The Quantum Field of Possibility. If Chapter 1 showed you that your brain is the hardware of reality creation, Chapter 2 will show you that potential is the raw material. Before anything manifests, a job, a relationship, or a physical state, it exists as one of many infinite possibilities. Your focused attention is the energy that collapses these possibilities into concrete, personal experience. Observation and collapse, a conceptual look at attention and potential. We won't attempt to teach quantum physics, but we will borrow one powerful, universally accepted concept. In the quantum realm, until a particle is observed, it exists in a superposition, a state of all possibilities simultaneously. It is the act of observation that forces the particle to choose a single state or collapse the wave function, making it measurable and real. In the metaphorical sense of human experience, your life is currently in a state of superposition. You hold all possible futures, the successful one, the struggling one, the healthy one, the stagnant one. Your focus is the observer. When you place focused, sustained attention on a specific, desired outcome, example, I will complete and publish my creative project this year, you are the observer collapsing the potential of that outcome into existence. You are forcing that particular reality to manifest in your actions, opportunities, and ultimately your results. On the contrary, if you focus your energy on the anxiety of failure, you collapse the reality where failure dominates your actions, leading to hesitation and retreat. The choice of what to observe is the choice of which reality to sculpt. By understanding this, you move from passively experiencing outcomes to actively choosing which potential to prioritize. From thought to form, the biofeedback loop of belief. The transition from a fleeting thought to a physical, tangible reality is mediated by the biofeedback loop of belief. This loop explains how internal focus drives external action. 1. Focus, thought. You intentionally place attention on a desired outcome. Example, I am a person who runs 3 miles every morning. 2. Emotion, feeling. Your body responds to this focused thought by releasing the chemistry associated with success and capability, dopamine, serotonin. This creates a feeling of confidence even before the action is taken. 3. Action, behavior. This confident emotion then fuels the necessary action. You put on your shoes and step outside. 4. Proof, form. The action is completed, providing concrete evidence to the mind that the initial focus, belief, was correct. Your brain records, I am indeed a person who runs 3 miles. This proof reinforces the initial focus, making the neural pathway, Chapter 1, stronger and paving the way for the next easier repetition. This is how focused belief transforms into habitual, high-performance behavior, which is the definition of sculpted reality. The energy of expectation. Why anticipation is a force multiplier. Focus generates momentum, but anticipation is the critical force multiplier. Anticipation is the focused attention on a future positive outcome infused with certainty. When you focus on a goal, you are signaling desire. When you focus with anticipation, you are signaling readiness. Consider 2 people applying for a promotion. Person A, focus without anticipation. I hope I get the promotion. I should probably study for the interview. Focus on the potential rejection and the necessary effort. Person B, focus with anticipation. When I start my new role, I will immediately initiate Project X. I need to prepare my outline now. Focus on the already realized future and planning the first steps. Person B's focus generates powerful, energetic actions right now. Their brain is already working from the premise of success, making their interview preparation more confident and their energy more attractive. Anticipation is the conscious choice to inhabit your future reality today, creating an emotional and energetic magnet that pulls the desired result toward you. The myth of multitasking, cognitive switching costs. To sculpt a singular, beautiful reality, you must abandon the toxic habit of multitasking. Multitasking is the illusion of productivity. In reality, it is simply rapid context switching. Every time you bounce your attention from one task to another, answering an email while drafting a report, while listening to a podcast, your brain pays a high price, known as the cognitive switching cost. This cost includes time loss. It takes on average 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully refocus on a task after an interruption. Quality degradation. Errors increase by up to 50% when task switching is involved. And energy drain. The constant shifting burns more glucose in the brain, leading to mental fatigue far faster than sustained single-tasking. To collapse the wave function of possibility into a high-quality, singular reality, you must commit to unimodal focus, dedicating 100% of your attention to the single most important action in the present moment. Anything less is scattering your most valuable resource, your focus, into 100 pieces of mediocrity. Practice the 5-minute single-tasking challenge. This challenge is designed to rebuild your focus muscles and demonstrate the immediate power of unimodal attention. 1. Select a trivial task. Choose something mundane that usually invites distraction, like unloading the dishwasher, folding a basket of laundry, organizing your digital desktop, or writing a thank you email. 2. Set a timer. Set a timer for exactly 5 minutes. 3. Go dark. Close all non-essential browser tabs, turn your phone face down or put it in another room, and commit to nothing but the task until the timer rings. 4. Observe. Do not just perform the action, observe your internal state. Notice the urge to check your phone, the mind's drift toward other worries, and the sudden and surprising speed with which the task is completed when you simply stay present. Repeat this challenge daily. The goal is to prove to your brain in small, manageable doses that single-tasking is the most efficient and least draining way to exist. Chapter 3. The Architecture of Deep Focus. If the previous chapters established the why, neuroscience, and the what, potential, of focused reality sculpting, this chapter provides the structural framework, the how. Deep focus is not a magical state that happens to you. It is a highly engineered environment and routine that you build for yourself. The ultimate goal of this architecture is to consistently induce the flow state, where the act of creation feels effortless and time dissolves. Defining flow state and how to induce it. Flow, a term popularized by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, is the mental state in which a person performing an activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment in the process of the activity. It is the experience of peak human performance, where your focus is your reality. In flow, the 3 core elements that interfere with creative work disappear. 1. Self-consciousness. You stop worrying about how you look or what others think. 2. Distraction. The reticular activating system, RAS, is fully locked on to the task at hand. 3. Time. The passage of time either slows down or speeds up dramatically, indicating a complete mental merging with the task. The key to inducing flow is not random chance, but the mastery of two opposing forces, challenge and skill. The 9 elements of the optimal experience. While Csikszentmihalyi identified 9 elements, 3 are critical for intentionally structuring your work to enter a flow state. 1. The challenge-skills balance. This is the most crucial element. The task you are focused on must be slightly outside your current comfort zone, a challenge that matches your skill level. If the challenge is too high, you experience anxiety. If the challenge is too low, you experience boredom. Flow lives in the sweet spot of productive struggle. 2. Clear goals. You must know with absolute certainty what success looks like in the next 5 minutes and the next 90 minutes. Vague goals, like work on the book, lead to distraction. Specific goals, like write the first draft of the introduction and edit the chapter list, drive focus. 3. Immediate feedback. You need to know, instantly, whether what you are doing is working or not. When writing, this feedback is the quality of the sentence. When coding, it's whether the function executes. When exercising, it's the burn in your muscles. This feedback loop eliminates ambiguity and keeps your focus locked. The time boxing and time blocking techniques. The modern world is designed to steal your time via reactivity, emails, messages, notifications. To counteract this, you must shift from a reactive schedule to an architected one using time blocking. Time blocking is the act of treating your calendar not as a passive list of appointments, but as a blueprint for your focused reality. How it works? Instead of making a to-do list, you assign every key task a specific block of time on your calendar. Example, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., deep work session, Chapter 3 drafting. Example, 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., admin block, clear email and messages. When you see a 2-hour block labeled Chapter 3 drafting, your RAS immediately registers that this is the one important thing. If an urge to check Twitter arises during that block, your mental instruction is clear. That is not scheduled now. Time blocking turns your vague aspirations into non-negotiable appointments, forcing your focus to follow the map. The 90-20 rule, focus sprints and strategic rest. The human brain, like any complex machine, operates in cycles. Research shows that our cognitive systems follow ultradian rhythms, cycles lasting roughly 90 to 120 minutes, where we move between high-frequency and low-frequency brain states. Ignoring this rhythm is why a 4-hour work session often yields rapidly diminishing returns. The 90-20 rule capitalizes on this biological rhythm. 1. The 90-minute focus sprint. Dedicate 90 minutes, or a maximum of 120 minutes, to the single most important task on your time-blocked schedule. During this time, the world goes dark. Chapter 7 will cover the digital firewall. 2. The 20-minute strategic rest. When the timer goes off, immediately stop working and engage in active recovery. This is not checking social media or email. It is movement, hydration, meditation, or simply gazing out a window. This rest replenishes the neural chemicals depleted during the sprint, preventing cognitive fatigue and preparing the brain for the next high-intensity focus block. By structuring your focus into these intensive, rhythmic sprints, you maximize the quality of your attention and produce better results in less time, sculpt your reality with surgical precision, and avoid burnout. Practice. Setting up your deep work environment. Your environment is the physical manifestation of your focus. If your space is chaotic, your mind will be chaotic. Use this practice to engineer your architecture for deep work. 1. The single task surface. Dedicate one surface, a desk, a kitchen table, a corner, to your highest value creative work. Before you begin a focus block, clear everything from this surface that is not directly necessary for the task at hand. Example, just the laptop, a notebook, and a glass of water. The visual clutter of possibilities is the enemy of focus. 2. The digital docking station. Designate a specific spot away from your desk where your phone and other distracting devices live during your 90-minute sprints. This eliminates the subconscious visual cue to check notifications. 3. The focus soundtrack. Create a playlist of instrumental music, ambient, classical, or lo-fi beats that you use only for deep work. The brain quickly associates this auditory input with the state of flow, acting as a mental on-ramp to focused concentration. By diligently building this external architecture, you remove the friction required to start and sustain focus, making the choice to sculpt your reality the easiest choice you can make. Chapter 4. Sculpting Career and Wealth. Part 1 gave you the focus engine. Part 2 gives you the direction. When it comes to your professional life and financial well-being, most people operate on a principle of reactive busyness, confusing activity with progress. To sculpt a reality of financial freedom and career impact, you must apply the force of focused intention like a laser beam. The 20% principle, focusing on high-leverage tasks, the true Pareto principle. The Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. When it comes to career and wealth, this principle is less about statistics and more about surgical focus. The average professional spends 80% of their time on low-leverage tasks, checking email, attending unnecessary meetings, organizing files, and performing administrative duties. These tasks feel productive because they create motion, but they rarely create value. To sculpt your career reality, your core focus must be on identifying and executing the 20% of activities that drive 80% of the ultimate value. For a writer, the 20% is dedicated drafting, editing, and creative outlining. The 80% is social media promotion, searching for fonts, or debating titles. For a salesperson, the 20% is direct communication with high-potential leads. The 80% is internal paperwork, endless research, or low-value networking events. Your highest form of financial and career focus is the ruthless defense of your time against the 80% that is simply busyness. Every morning, ask yourself, what is the one action I can take today that will move me furthest toward my long-term career or financial goal? This question directs your RAS, time blocking, and energy toward high-leverage creation. The scarcity trap, focusing on lack versus abundance. The mental landscape you use to approach money and career opportunity is perhaps the most significant reality sculptor you possess. The default societal programming is the scarcity trap. The scarcity trap is when your focus defaults to fear of loss, worrying about bills, market crashes, or job security. Comparison, focusing on what others have achieved or earned that you have not. Competition, viewing every opportunity as a zero-sum game where someone else must lose for you to win. This constant focus on not enough or what is missing instructs your RAS to find evidence of lack, leading to conservative, fear-based decision-making. You avoid risks, cling to security, and repel the connections needed for growth. To sculpt a reality of wealth and opportunity, you must engage the abundance focus. 1. Gratitude for the present, focusing on the resources, skills, and opportunities you currently possess. Value creation, focusing on how you can best serve others and solve large problems, knowing compensation is a natural consequence of value. Possibility. Viewing market shifts, downturns, or setbacks as opportunities to innovate, learn, and grow. This shift in focus from survival to contribution is what elevates your reality from one of transactional labor to one of intentional creation. Defining enough. The intentional focus on financial freedom. Many people chase income targets without ever defining the purpose of that pursuit, resulting in a reality sculpted by perpetual dissatisfaction. You are always running toward a finish line that moves every time you get close. To achieve true financial well-being, your focus must move beyond simply earning more to intentionally defining enough. Define financial freedom. Calculate the precise amount of passive income you need to cover your desired lifestyle. This number becomes your singular, focused target. Everything beneath that level is busyness, and every focused high-leverage action is a direct contribution to that target. Your focus sculpts the system sculpts the wealth. This clarity of focus removes the stress of endless consumption and directs your attention to the systems that grant you ultimate freedom, time, and autonomy. The skill of strategic neglect, ignoring non-essential tasks. The most overlooked skill of successful career sculpting is strategic neglect. It's the conscious, intentional choice to ignore things that do not move you toward your 20% high-leverage goals. If your reality is sculpted by your focus, you must starve the activities that feed a lesser reality. This means neglect low-value communications, turn off notifications, and only batch check email once or twice daily during an admin block. Time blocking. Neglect non-essential meetings. Unless a meeting is directly linked to a 20% priority task, politely decline or request an asynchronous update. Neglect the urge to be busy. Resist the temptation to fill every moment with activity. True wealth comes from focused creation, not frantic activity. The focused individual often looks less busy than the distracted one because their time is being used for high-output, deep work. Case study: the focused entrepreneur. Consider Sarah, an entrepreneur who used to spend 10 hours a day working. She was constantly responding to customer service emails, micromanaging minor social media posts, and designing low-priority website fixes. She felt busy, but was perpetually anxious about her low revenue. Sarah shifted her focus. Old focus, scarcity, worrying about the next payment and responding to every single email immediately. New focus, abundance, dedicating 90-minute sprints solely to creating high-value, scalable digital content, the 20% activity. She began strategically neglecting her inbox until after 1 p.m. and stopped attending all but one weekly strategy meeting. Her daily actions dropped from 15 tasks to 3 highly focused blocks. Within 6 months, her working hours decreased by 20%, while her revenue increased by 150%. Her sculpted reality went from one of frantic scrambling and scarcity to one of calm, high-leverage contribution and financial abundance, all because she shifted her focus from the trivial 80% to the valuable 20%. Practice: the high-leverage 20% audit. Take a moment to audit your current professional focus. 1. List 10 recent tasks. Write down the 10 things you spent the most time on at work last week. Example: email, meeting X, writing report Y, training new employee Z. 2. Assign value, 1 to 10. Next to each task, assign a value rating from 1, creates almost no long-term value, to 10, directly generates income or contributes to a massive growth goal. 3. Identify the 20%. Select the 2 tasks that scored the highest, your 20%. 4. Schedule the 20%. Block out 90-minute segments on your calendar for the next 3 days, dedicated only to those 2 high-leverage tasks. Protect this time with absolute rigor. This audit forces you to focus on results, not just activity, enabling you to sculpt a reality of true professional impact. Chapter 5. Sculpting Relationships and Love. If your career is sculpted by the efficiency of your focus, your relationships are sculpted by the quality of it. In an age of infinite digital distractions, giving someone your undivided attention is no longer a courtesy. It is the most precious and powerful currency of affection you possess. Relationships are a shared reality, and they are constructed daily through mutual observation and validation. Where you place your focus within a relationship determines whether you sculpt a reality of deep empathetic connection or one of critical distance and frustration. Presence as the ultimate gift, focused attention in connection. Presence is the unimodal focus of the relationship. It means dedicating 100% of your cognitive and emotional bandwidth to the human being in front of you. When you are sitting across from a partner, child, friend, or colleague, and your phone is face-up, vibrating with notifications, you are signaling split focus. You are telling your brain and the other person that their reality is in constant low-grade competition with the external world. The problem with this split focus is the cognitive switching cost applicable to empathy. Every time your attention is pulled toward an external buzz, you lose the subtle threads of emotional and nonverbal communication necessary for true connection. Split focus reality. The relationship feels shallow, the conversation repetitive, and the other person feels unseen. Focused reality. The conversation flows easily, empathy deepens, and the other person feels validated, which chemically strengthens the bond between you. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your shared reality. The negative bias in partnership, focusing on faults versus virtues. Our brains by default have a built-in negative bias, a neural tendency to prioritize negative information as a survival mechanism. This bias is a deadly saboteur in long-term relationships. After the initial phase of novelty wears off, the RAS starts to filter for negative proof. The dishes left in the sink, the repetitive complaint, the slight imperfection. If you unconsciously allow your focus to settle on these minor flaws, you begin to sculpt a reality of resentment. The small positive efforts, the coffee made in the morning, the quiet support, the shared laugh, fade into the background noise, exactly what the RAS is designed to filter out. To intentionally sculpt a vibrant reality relationship, you must actively reprogram your RAS through intentional appreciation. 1. Daily RAS repriming. Every day, commit to mentally listing 3 specific things your partner, friend, did or is that you genuinely appreciate. Example, I appreciate that he took the time to listen to my work problem, not just he is nice. 2. Vocalize the focus. The fastest way to hardwire a neural path is to express it. By vocalizing specific praise, you reinforce the positive focus in your own mind, direct the other person's focus toward their own virtues, and sculpt a shared reality of mutual strength. This practice is the ultimate maintenance. It is choosing to illuminate the strengths of the connection, causing the weaknesses to recede into the shadows. Conflict and focus, shifting attention from blame to solution. Conflict is inevitable, but how you manage your focus during conflict determines whether it erodes or strengthens your relationship. Most conflict is a focus trap centered on the unproductive question, who is right? This focus on blame forces both parties into a defensive posture, where their RAS is dedicated to gathering evidence against the other person. This sculpts a reality where the relationship is defined by win-loss battles. The moment conflict arises, you must consciously shift your focus to the question, what is the solution? Blame focus, low leverage 80%. You focus on the surface-level argument, the tone, or the past offenses. This creates short-term emotional relief, but zero long-term progress. Solution focus, high leverage, 20%. You focus on the underlying need, the systemic solution, and the future agreement. This requires courage because it means neglecting the urge to be right. Solution sculpting in conflict. 1. Stop the focus on I. Focus entirely on hearing and validating the other person's perspective before formulating your response. 2. Focus on the future. Instead of relitigating the past, ask focused questions, like what is one single step we can both agree to take to prevent this situation next time? 3. Define the shared reality. Reiterate your commitment to the shared reality. We both want a calm, supportive home. Let's focus our energy on building that. Focused listening, the master skill of empathy. If focused attention is the highest gift, focused listening is how that gift is delivered. Focused listening is the deliberate, non-distracted attention to another person without formulating your reply while they are speaking. When someone is truly listening, they are sculpting a reality where the speaker feels safe and understood. This sense of safety is the bedrock of trust. To practice focused listening, physical commitment, maintain eye contact, square your body toward the speaker, place your hands on the table or in your lap, do not fiddle. This physical architecture reinforces mental presence. Mental silence. Silence the voice in your head that is crafting a rebuttal, planning your next point, or judging the speaker's words. Your only focus is intake and understanding. Reflective summarizing. After the speaker is done, briefly summarize what you heard. This is the ultimate feedback loop. What I hear you saying is that you felt unheard when I brought up the issue during dinner. Is that right? This proves your focus was genuine and eliminates misunderstanding, the source of most relationship friction. Practice the 15-minute uninterrupted connection. Schedule a non-negotiable, ritualistic block of time with your primary partner, close friend, or family member, ideally daily. 1. The digital darkout. All phones, tablets, and computers are physically placed in another room, silenced or turned off for the entire 15 minutes. This is a non-negotiable rule. 2. The topic check-in. The purpose is not to discuss logistics, bills, chores, or calendars. The focus is entirely on inner experience. Ask one focused, open-ended question, like, what was the most challenging thing you dealt with today? Or, what is one thing that brought you joy? And 3. Active listener role. For 7.5 minutes, one person speaks and the other practices focused listening. This practice sculpts a powerful, reliable anchor of safety and presence in your life, reinforcing the neural pathway that links deep focus with emotional reward and relational fulfillment. Chapter 6. Sculpting Health and Energy. The ultimate success of your sculpted reality in career, relationships, or personal growth is entirely dependent on the quality of your energy. Your body is the primary vehicle through which you experience the world, and neglecting it means cutting the lifespan and intensity of your focused efforts short. Health is not just the absence of illness, it is the intentional focus on vitality and sustained power. Most people live in a state of physical neglect, only focusing on their body when pain or illness demands attention. This reactive focus sculpts a reality of chronic low-grade stress and unexpected health crises. To sculpt the reality of abundant health, you must proactively direct your attention to these key systems. The body scan, focused awareness for physical well-being. Intentional focus begins with heightened awareness. The practice of the body scan is the simplest and most powerful tool for elevating physical awareness. It involves systematically bringing non-judgmental attention to different parts of your body, observing sensations, tension, or discomfort. The check-in. Set an alarm for 3 random points during your workday. When it rings, immediately check in. Where is tension being held? How is my posture? Where is my breathing residing, chest or belly? The RAS command. This regular check-in trains your RAS to prioritize subtle biological signals over external noise. You move from a state of operating on your body to operating with it. This is how you sculpt the reality of early prevention and maximized vitality, recognizing the whispers of fatigue before they become a shout of burnout. Nutritional focus, the power of intentional eating, mindfulness. Food is energy, and energy is the fuel for sustained focus. Yet eating is one of the most distracted activities in modern life. We eat at our desks, while driving, or while staring at a screen. This scattered focus turns a profound act of self-nourishment into a mindless chore, resulting in poor digestion, erratic energy levels, and compromised mood. Intentional eating is simply the practice of unimodal focus applied to your meals. The 10-minute rule. Commit to dedicating the first 10 minutes of every main meal to only eating. Put away the phone, close the laptop, and turn off the TV. Sensory focus. Direct your attention to the sensory experience, the colors on the plate, the texture of the food, the aroma, and the sensation of chewing and swallowing. The connection. This focus slows the meal, improves digestion, and creates a clear feedback loop between what you consume and how you feel afterward. You are no longer mindlessly consuming calories. You are consciously absorbing fuel. This focused intention sculpts a reality where your energy levels are stable and responsive, supporting your deep work sessions and emotional presence. Movement as meditation, directing focus to physical sensation. For the focused individual, movement is not just about burning calories, it is a critical tool for regulating the mind and reinforcing presence. Just as the breath serves as an anchor for meditation, physical exertion serves as an anchor for the mind. When lifting weights, running, or practicing yoga, your attention must be fully placed on the muscle firing, the connection to the ground, or the alignment of your spine. The anchor of action. If your mind wanders during a run, focus solely on the sensation of your feet hitting the pavement. If your mind drifts during a difficult stretch, focus solely on the deep breath and the stretch itself. The flow state of effort. When the challenge of the movement perfectly matches your physical skill, you enter a physical version of the flow state. The focused effort releases endorphins and clears the cognitive static, creating a sculpted reality where physical activity is a mental release, not a draining obligation. By focusing on how you move, not just that you move, you build mental and physical resilience simultaneously. The focus on recovery. Sleep as a performance tool. The ultimate betrayal of focus is viewing sleep and rest as weaknesses or luxuries. In reality, recovery is the high-leverage 20% of performance. You don't get better during the sprint, you get better during the recovery. If your focus is dedicated to output 24/7, you sculpt a reality of diminishing returns, fatigue, and eventual illness. Intentional focus dictates that you must dedicate energy to the necessary systems of rest. The digital sunset. Focus your attention away from stimulating screens 60 minutes before bed. This intentional act allows the brain to transition from the high-frequency beta state associated with work or alertness to the alpha and theta states needed for quality sleep. The sleep sanctuary. Designate your bedroom as a single-purpose environment dedicated to rest. Any activity, work, television, arguing that takes place in the bedroom dilutes its association with deep recovery, compromising your sleep reality. Intentional wind down. Use the final 10 minutes of the day to apply the RAS priming practice to tomorrow's recovery. Focus on a statement like, My mind and body are now entering a state of deep and restorative rest. Practice the daily energy audit. This audit helps you track where your attention is going and how that focus affects your daily fuel tank. 1. Morning rating, 1 to 10. When you wake up, rate your energy level from 1, exhausted, to 10, fully charged. This anchors your conscious awareness. 2. Tracking the taps. Throughout the day, track 3 major activities that drained your focus, e.g. doom scrolling, an unnecessary meeting, excessive sugar intake, and 3 major activities that boosted your focus, e.g. 90-20 sprint completion, hydration, walking break. 3. Evening review. Before bed, review the list. Focus on the pattern. Your reality is a direct result of these 6 choices. Use this feedback to prioritize the boosts and strategically neglect the drains tomorrow. You are sculpting a reality defined by sustained, available energy. Chapter 7. Taming the Digital Hydra. You have mastered the mechanics of focus and learned how to sculpt your reality in the essential domains of career, relationships, and health. However, a master sculptor must not only wield the chisel, but also protect the finished work from the elements. The single greatest threat to your intentional focus is not apathy or lack of motivation, it is the digital hydra, the interconnected, multi-headed system designed specifically to capture and monetize your attention. The attention economy, understanding the enemy of your focus. Your focus is the most valuable commodity in the modern world. Every application, social media platform, news feed, and streaming service is built around the single economic imperative: maximize your time spent observing their content. This means that your intentional focus is in constant asymmetrical warfare against algorithms and behavioral scientists, whose success is measured by your distraction. If you approach your phone and computer passively, they will not only dictate your time, but also reprogram your RAS to prioritize reactive noise over deliberate creation. The first step in taming the digital hydra is acknowledging that your devices are not neutral tools. They are highly optimized machines for distraction. Your reality is not just sculpted by what you focus on, but by what you allow to focus on you. Notification fatigue and the dopamine treadmill. The mechanism by which the digital hydra controls your attention is chemical. It relies on the variable reward schedule and the release of dopamine. 1. The variable reward schedule. Every notification, email, or social media like is a potential randomized reward. This unpredictability, the chance that the next tap might be highly satisfying, a message from a loved one, a work opportunity, a funny meme, is the most addictive pattern known to behavioral science. It compels you to keep checking. 2. Notification fatigue. Each ping, buzz, or red badge creates a micro-interruption, costing you 23 minutes to regain full cognitive focus. Over a day, this constant interruption creates notification fatigue, exhausting the mental energy reserves needed for deep work and presence. Your sculpted reality becomes defined by superficial urgency rather than purposeful action. To break this chemical treadmill, you must intentionally decouple your focus from these automated cues. You must teach your brain that the greatest rewards come not from the random external buzz, but from the internal satisfaction of sustained, completed creation. The digital detox myth versus intentional digital hygiene. Many attempt to solve their digital dependency with a digital detox, a period of extreme, unsustainable abstinence. The problem with a detox is that it is a reactive measure that sets you up for failure. You stop using digital tools, but you never change the underlying relationship or architecture. Intentional digital hygiene is the sculptor's sustainable solution. It is a proactive, systemic approach to using technology only as a tool for intentional creation, never as a default source of stimulation. Detox focus, avoidance and guilt, temporary reality. Hygiene focus, architecture, scheduling, and strategic use, permanent reality. Digital hygiene recognizes that the devices are necessary for modern life, the 20% leverage, but must be rigorously quarantined from the moments that demand flow state, the 80% risk. Creating boundaries, the focus firewall. A focus firewall is the set of physical and digital rules you establish to protect your most valuable resource, your undivided attention, from the digital Hydra. This is non-negotiable architecture for a sculpted reality. 1. Physical distance firewall. Never keep your phone within sight or reach during a scheduled 90-minute deep work block, during the 15-minute uninterrupted connection with a loved one, or during the digital sunset hour before bed. Your phone should be stored in a physical, digital docking station out of sight and hearing. 2. Notification zero firewall. Turn off all non-essential notifications permanently. The only notifications that should ever penetrate your attention should be related to immediate critical human safety. Example, a phone call from a specific contact, not an email or social media update. You control when you check. 3. App and browser firewall. Delete or archive any application on your phone that serves primarily as a random variable reward, i.e., endless scrolling, feeds, and entertainment. If a social media site is necessary for your career, 20% leverage, only access it via a specific desktop browser during a time-blocked admin session. Tool: the focus calendar and notification scheduling. The final, masterful step in taming the digital Hydra is integrating your digital usage into the time-blocking system. You stop reacting to the chime and start dictating when the chime is allowed to happen. 1. Scheduled check-in blocks. Create 3 to 4 non-negotiable blocks of 15 to 30 minutes throughout your day solely for checking and processing reactive communication, emails, Slack, and texts. Label them admin block, process communications. 2. Batch processing. During these blocks, and only during these blocks, do you look at your notifications, process messages efficiently, respond, and close the applications immediately. 3. Digital Sabbath or shutdown. Integrate a firm, scheduled cutoff time every evening, your digital sunset. Use the time before bed not for consumption, but for creative output or recovery. By rigorously adhering to this system, you replace the impulsive, reactive reality sculpted by the Hydra with a deliberate, calm reality sculpted by your own schedule. You transition from being the product being sold to the architect creating the value. Chapter 8. Overcoming Focus Saboteurs. Having built the external architecture of focus, scheduling, environment, digital hygiene, we must now turn inward. The ultimate threat to sustained creation is not the distraction of a phone screen, but the internal voice of doubt, fear, and emotional resistance. These psychological barriers are focus saboteurs, deeply ingrained behavioral patterns that draw your attention away from high-leverage creation and towards low-stakes, safe activities. To sculpt a reality of consistent action and output, you must learn to recognize these saboteurs and intentionally redirect your focus when they arise. The saboteur of perfectionism, focused action over idealism. Perfectionism is perhaps the most insidious focus saboteur, as it masquerades as a virtuous goal. In reality, perfectionism is simply a fear of criticism that translates into a focused belief that your current work is inadequate. This belief paralyzes you at the starting line, preventing the necessary movement into the flow state. The focus trap. The perfectionist focuses 100% of their attention on the final, flawless ideal, a reality that does not yet exist. Because the current reality, the blank page, the first prototype, is so far from the ideal, the brain triggers avoidance to prevent the perceived pain of failure or judgment. The sculptor's law: release the first draft. You must shift your focus from the ideal outcome to the imperfect process. The first draft, the first prototype, or the first rehearsal is not meant to be judged. Its function is only to exist. It creates material for the chisel, your focused effort, to refine later. Practice the ugly first draft, UFD. To break the perfectionist focus trap, intentionally lower the bar for the first 20 minutes of any creative session. Commit to making the output messy, quick, and non-optimized. Set an internal timer and tell yourself, the goal is speed, not quality. I am not allowed to stop until the timer rings, even if the work is terrible. This redirects focus from paralyzing self-judgment to energizing momentum. The saboteur of procrastination, focusing on the first next step. Procrastination is universally misunderstood as laziness. It is not a failure of character, it is a failure of emotional regulation. When a task feels too large, complex, or tedious, the brain focuses on the pain of the effort instead of the reward of completion. This focused pain triggers avoidance, leading you to seek temporary comfort in low-value activities, like doom scrolling, organizing your desk. The procrastination paradox. The 90-minute sprint for a major project feels overwhelming. Your focus collapses, leading to no action. The action chisel, micro-commitments. The only way to move past this saboteur is to apply the sharpest possible focus to the smallest possible point of action. The focus must shift from the daunting destination, the completed book, the finished report, to the tiny, immediate first next step. The 5-minute rule. Commit to working on the dreaded task for exactly 5 minutes. The rule is based on the idea that the friction to start is 100 times greater than the friction to continue. Focus 100% on just the 5 minutes. Once started, the intrinsic momentum, flow state initiation, usually takes over, and your focused mind will override the emotional resistance. Dealing with emotional static, focusing through fear and anxiety. Even the most disciplined individuals experience days when unaddressed fear, anxiety, or internal conflict acts as a debilitating background noise, emotional static. This static constantly draws minute amounts of attention away from your primary task, making unimodal focus impossible. When emotional static arises, your intentional reality sculpting must pause momentarily and address the internal disruption directly. The 3-breath recenter. When you recognize this static, the mind racing, the gut tightening, pause your task and perform this quick reset. 1. Acknowledge. Focus on the emotion and name it without judgment. I feel fear, anxiety, resistance. 2. Observe. Focus solely on the physical sensation in the body. Where is the tension being held? Shoulders, jaw, stomach. This moves the emotion from a vague mental concept to a manageable physical input. 3. Refocus. Redirect your attention back to the clear goal for the next 5 minutes. The goal is not to eliminate the emotion, but to reduce its volume and make it background noise again, allowing your focused work to return to the foreground. This technique is a micro-application of the body scan for mental regulation. The art of self-compassion. Refocusing after failure. In the process of sculpting your reality, you will inevitably hit setbacks. You will miss a 90-minute sprint, break your digital firewall, or fail to achieve a specific goal. At this point, the final focus saboteur, internal guilt and judgment, typically arrives. The focus trap of guilt. Focusing on self-judgment. I am a failure. I'm lazy. I always screw this up. Reinforces the negative neural pathway, instructing your RAS to find evidence of your incompetence. This punitive focus makes the mental landscape hostile and makes returning to intentional action very difficult. Self-compassion as a focus tool. Self-compassion is the choice to focus on recovery and learning rather than punishment and guilt. It is the most efficient and powerful way to restart the focus engine after a breakdown. The focus reset ritual. When a failure or lapse occurs, immediately replace the focus on guilt with this 3-step ritual. 1. Acknowledge the humanity. Silently state, "I am human, I had a lapse and that is okay. Everyone makes mistakes." 2. Review the system. Shift your focus from who broke the system to what broke the system. What external boundary or internal trigger was compromised? E.g., the system broke because I didn't get enough sleep, not I am weak. 3. The next step. Immediately schedule the next non-negotiable 90-minute focus sprint and resume the work. Do not wait for motivation to return. Let the action create the motivation. Biofeedback loop. Practice. The mental declutter session. A scattered mind is a mind that is constantly diverting small, precious amounts of attention to unscheduled worries and vague to-dos. The mental declutter session is designed to move this internal static into a trusted external system, freeing up your cognitive resources for deep focus. 1. Capture 1 minute. On a piece of paper or in a simple document, write down everything causing mental noise: worries, uncompleted tasks, vague ideas, resentments, upcoming appointments, anything that feels in your head. Do not organize it, just dump it. 2. Assign action. 3 minutes. Go through the list and next to each item, assign one intentional action. Action. If it takes less than 2 minutes, complete it immediately. Schedule. If it requires more time, assign it a specific time-blocked slot on your calendar for the coming days. Neglect. Consciously decide it is not worth your focus, a low-leverage 80% task, and cross it out permanently. Strategic neglect. 3. Confirm the cleansing. Focus on the cleared page. Your mind now knows that every item has been acknowledged and placed in a reliable system. This clears the cognitive cache, allowing unimodal focus to return. By mastering these techniques, you stop letting your internal landscape dictate your focus and start using intentional focus to master your internal landscape. Chapter 9. The Focus Legacy. Living Intentionally. You are now equipped with the complete toolkit, the neurological understanding of your attention, the areas of life where to apply it, and the defensive strategies against distraction and self-sabotage. The final step is to shift your perspective from managing focus to living intentionally. This chapter is about embedding the principles of focused reality sculpting into your identity, ensuring your focus becomes a sustainable legacy, not just a temporary technique. Aligning focus with core values, the North Star. Many people chase goals that are handed to them by society, family, or advertising. When focus is applied to a goal not aligned with the true self, that focus inevitably fractures. The energy required to maintain it will feel draining, not energizing. Your core values are the North Star, the few non-negotiable principles that define a meaningful life for you. These values, whether they are creativity, freedom, connection, service, or mastery, must be the ultimate target of your focus. 1. Identify your top 3 values. Spend time deeply reflecting on the times you felt most alive, proud, and fulfilled. What was the common theme? Pinpoint your top 3 core values. 2. Focus filter. Before dedicating a 90-minute sprint to any major task or goal, filter it through your North Star. Ask, does this effort directly serve one of my top 3 values? If the answer is no, the task is a low-leverage 80% activity that deserves strategic neglect. By ensuring your focus is aligned with your values, the work becomes inherently meaningful, and the need for external motivation dissolves. You stop fighting distraction and start flowing toward purpose. The power of review. Daily, weekly, and annual focus assessments. Intentional living requires regular calibration. Like a master sculptor who steps back often to assess the symmetry of their work, you must establish ritualized review periods to ensure your focus is still sculpting the reality you desire. 1. The daily reflection, 10 minutes, evening. What was my 20% today? Did I spend the majority of my deep work time on the highest leveraged tasks? Where did the Hydra win? Where did my focus leak, and what boundary was breached? Did I show up? Did I bring presence to my most important relationship? 2. The weekly audit, 30 minutes, Sunday. The system check. Review your time-blocking calendar. Did the architecture hold up? Adjust the schedule, not your willpower. Value scorecard. Did my weekly actions reflect my top 3 core values? If connection is a value, did I schedule and execute the 15-minute uninterrupted connection? Reset the RAS. Based on the week's successes, write down 3 specific larger wins to program your RAS for the upcoming week. The annual vision assessment, half day. This is the moment to look at the macro reality you are sculpting. Reread the introduction's fundamental law. What reality have I created in the last 12 months? Is the external reality, career, health, relationships, a direct reflection of my intentional focus? The new challenge. Based on your new skills and momentum, raise the challenge skills balance for the next year. Define the new, slightly ambitious reality you will now focus on sculpting. Creating a focus ritual. Priming your day for success. Momentum is generated at the start of the day. A focus ritual is a non-negotiable sequence of actions designed to prime your mind for unimodal focus and direct your RAS toward the positive outcomes you seek. This ritual is the on-ramp to your sculpted reality. The 3 pillars of the morning ritual. 1. Movement, energy priming. 15 to 30 minutes of physical activity to clear emotional static and increase blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, the seat of focus. 2. RAS programming, intentionality priming. Execute your morning focused journal practice. Review your high-leverage task list for the day. 3. Digital delay, boundary priming. Do not engage with the digital Hydra, email, social media, news, until after your first scheduled deep work sprint. This defends your focus and ensures your morning momentum is dedicated to creation, not consumption. Conclusion. The end of searching, the beginning of creating. The pursuit of focus is often described as a battle against external forces, distractions, bad habits, and urgent demands. This book offers a different truth. Focus is not a battle. It is an act of sovereign choice. The chisel is now in your hands. You know the material, potential. You know the mechanics, your brain. You know the architecture, flow state and time blocking. And you know the threats, the digital Hydra and the internal saboteurs. Your reality is waiting to be sculpted. The searching, the wishing, and the hoping are over. All that remains is the simple, consistent, and profound act of placing your attention on the thing you wish to create. Go and sculpt your reality. And with that, we've reached the end of our journey together. For now. But your most important work is just beginning. To help you turn the ideas we've discussed into real, lasting habits, I've created a special gift for you. Attached to this audiobook, you will find a PDF file called The Sculptor's Workbook, 21-Day Focus Challenge. Think of it as your personal guide for the next 3 weeks, helping you carve out the focus and discipline you desire. Find the file in the description, open it up, and take that first step.
Thank you for listening, and I wish you the very best on the path ahead.